It's funny, like, with one syllable names, like Paul, nicknames lengthen your name, usually. Like, or at the very, don't shorten it. It's like, PJ is 2 syllables, and it's my nickname. Peaches is 2 syllables, that's my nickname. Paul is my name. What could you do to shorten Paul? Nothing, really. Puh.
Just P.
But still, it's saying P is 1 syllable. Out of, like, all of the things that I was saddled with, I think I like my name the most. I like the name Paul. I think it's rare enough that people usually only know 1 or 2 Pauls, but common enough that people don't forget your name because it's easy to remember. I think Paul is a good name.
Don't misspell it.
Yeah, most people don't. Unless they're intentionally doing it like this community does, calling me Pooal. I think Paul is a good name. It's a strange name. Like, if you think about it, there's not a lot of other names that begin with a P. They're pretty rare. Penelope, Philip, Patrick.
They're all longer names. I don't think there's any P names that are
Yeah, there's
short.
very few short, like 1 syllable P names. Can you think of another one? Paul. Poppy is 2.
Polly is 2.
Polly is 2. Penelope is 3 or 4. Persephone, Pam. But Pam is a nickname for Pamela.
Yeah.
Nobody's named Pam.
I think my mom had a friend that was just a Pam.
No fucking way. Not a chance, dude. She was Pamela for sure. Nobody's named Pam. Maybe. I don't know. My grandfather has the same name as you. Paul is also a biblical name. Yeah, well, Paul, St. Paul or whatever was like, if you look at the spread of Christianity, it's attributed to Paul. Paul of Tarsus or whatever he went by before he became a saint. He was one of the earliest figures in disseminating and organizing Christianity. Probably the earliest, according to the Bible. And when you trace the etymology of Paul, it means small or meek. It's an interesting name. The Apostle Paul, he was a persecutor of Christians for a long time. Right. Like he was a Jew, right? He was like a Hasidic Jew or whatever, and he persecuted Christians until he was, I can't remember what the story is exactly, but good old Paul. Pam is the only one. If there's an actual, just a straight out Pam.
Like short, like Pat.
Patricia, right. That's how I feel about Pam. I feel like Pam is always a Pamela. Pat is always a Patricia or a Patrick. There isn't one. Unique. Got a unique name. The only 1 syllable, Paige. Paige. You nailed it. Good digging. Paige, yeah. Boogie Nights. Good afternoon, Pranav. My brother's name is Paul. We called him Paulie. Yeah, Paulie. That was my dad's nickname. Like, not Paulie like Paulie want a cracker, but Paulie like Paulie. Or Pauly, I guess, depending on how you wanted to spell it. But yeah, people would call him Paulie. And that was a nickname that stuck all the way through his adulthood, so it never came to me. Paulie, somebody said Paulie around our family, there was never any doubt as to who they were talking about. So I never got Paulie. Yeah, my nickname was, it was basically like, because I'm a junior, so they called me PJ. And then that got shortened to Peach. And then I had a gymnastics teacher that overheard my mom and my dad calling me Peach. And my friends, I guess. And she thought they were saying peach. So she started calling me Peaches. And then my mom overheard her calling me Peaches and thought it was cute. And to this day, my mom calls me Peaches.
See, I never had a nickname other than like what my little sisters gave me when they couldn't talk very well.
Yeah.
Called me Sissy.
Sissy. Yeah. That's kind of a nickname.
But it's not any alteration of my own name.
Some nicknames aren't, though.
Yeah.
Like, some people get nicknames that have nothing to do with their real names, or very little. But not everybody gets a nickname, that's true. You have a name that's kind of hard to nicknameize, really. Your childhood nickname was Pumpkin for some reason. Yeah.
It's not a bad one.
Pumpkin. I guess not, yeah. I mean, it's another fruit name. Why do they name us after fruits? Peanut? That's pretty cute. We had a friend nicknamed Peanut. Monk or monkey? They called you a monkey? That's kind of mean.
My stepdad intentionally made all my sisters' names as long as he could.
Yeah.
It wasn't based on anything, so like we just always shortened it because he just kept shoving letters on there. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah. That's cool though. She's got a like one of those like conversation piece names.
Yeah.
Like I wish it would be cool to have a name like that, where most people think your name is way shorter, and then you say, actually, my name is da 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 da. That would be kind of cool. I would have at least advocated for inflicting some pretty weird names on children. Because I was not, like, that was a point of contention between me and my ex-wife back before, I knew that I couldn't have kids and we were trying. She wanted these, like, normal-ass names for kids. And I wanted to name, like, I liked colors. Wanted to name a kid Blue. Blue was my top name for a girl, if we had a girl.
I don't blame her.
Blue.
You to call a kid Blue.
And then I was really advocating for some hardcore fucking names for the dude too. Like I wanted to name him, like the first name I threw at her was Mithrandir. Like that's one of Gandalf's names. Wanted to name my kid Mithrandir, dude. Mithrandir and Blue, if I was able to name a kid.
You couldn't then.
Yeah, it just wasn't meant. Those two people cannot exist. They were not meant to exist. Mithrandir and Blue, bro. And then finally, she talked me down out of Mithrandir, and I chose Alexander, which I think is a cool name. I think that one's more acceptable. But I never backed down off of Blue. I was like, Blue.
Well, if you ever get a girl pet, that's what their name's gonna have to be.
No, I've never had an animal that I wanted to name Blue.
Yeah.
I just think it would be.
Well,
I've
you got
never
like
met.
the blue coat though.
What?
Like the blue coat, where it's like that kind of grayish.
Like a blue tick hound or whatever?
Yeah.
I guess, maybe. Got the Viking name Eric, spelled with a K. That's pretty cool. I like that. I was thinking about the like different spellings for Alexander too, because the traditional, I think, like American or whatever Western spelling for Alexander, Alexander. I was gonna do like Aleksander, Alexander, because I guess that's one of the actual spellings of it. Like Eastern wise. Like if you go east.
I'm so glad we're not having kids. I hate your kid names.
Both of them, you hate both.
I hate all of them. I hate you changing the spelling of Alexander too.
Yep, see? It's a good thing. See, I'm telling you, I wasn't meant to have children, dude. We named one of our sons Saxon Gray. Oh boy. Oh boy. So you don't like Blue. You don't like Alexander.
I don't like Mithrandir.
You don't like Mithrandir. Bruh.
I think you had bad choices.
Bad choices all around. What can you say? Are you more for like normal names?
Yeah.
So like what, like if you had to choose?
Like if I had like a daughter or something, I'd pick something simple like Erica or Paige or Elizabeth or something like that.
Okay. The like common names.
Yeah.
What about Blue?
No.
No. What about boys?
Or average names and shit.
Joe,
There's a lot of Joes.
Bill, Williams,
Yeah.
Stevens.
Stuff like that, yeah.
We never would. It just would have come to, like I would have been, but one of us would have been completely unhappy with the child's name.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Even though I'm a fan of, or they're hard to say I'm a fan of Indian names. There are some pretty cool ones. I knew a dude named Jag Paul one time, and that was his first name. And he was an early crypto dude. And he ended up, like, he was a dude that would come into my Starbucks all the time. And he had, back before they released, like, the, like, more street versions of them, he had a Hummer with the snorkel on the front of it, the old, like, the military-style fucking Hummer. He had a badass Hummer. And his plate was Jag Paul. That's a pretty cool name. We're talking people from India, not Native Americans. Brahmin was on the list. Yeah, that's the type of bull, too, isn't it?
It's what, like, the cow they're called fall out of New Vegas.
Brahmin. Yeah. I know Brahma is a bull, for sure. Creator, that's what it means. Okay, well, that makes sense. Cows are very special in Hindi. I know that a Brahma is a bull. Pranab means forever young. Cool. Neat. Mithrandir, dude.
Yeah, dude, thank God we're not having kids, though.
That would be it. If I was fertile, it'd be over.
That would bring us
End of our relationship right here. It's like, man, you ain't naming my kid Mithrandir. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, there are worse ones, dude. I could be weird like Frank Zappa. He named his sons Dweezil and Ahmed and his daughter Moon Unit.
Yeah.
Dweezil, Ahmed, and Moon Unit Zappa. Yeah, he had another daughter named Diva with a different mom. Moon unit, dude. Apple. That's right. Didn't that's what's her name? She has the Goop Labs thing. Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter is named Apple. Blanket Jackson, that's right. Michael Jackson named a child Blanket.
Dude, the news was like fucking obsessed with that when he died, like just showing him a blanket over the rail
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
And that was a stupid thing that he did, but he didn't do it for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? People fucked on Michael Jackson a lot for a lot of things because he was genuinely a strange person, and because of that he got scrutinized to the point of no return. Yeah, I remember Jason Lee's kid. Yeah, Pilot Inspector Lee. Inspector with a K. Pilot Inspector Lee is his name. Mithrandir's starting to sound good, isn't it?
If we get a pet, you can name as many pets as you want with Mithrandir.
I can name as many pets as I want after Lord of the Rings characters.
Yep.
Lothspell, Stormcrow, Wormtongue. People are always trying to say my youngest son's middle name because it's easier than Shyam. Shyam. Naming a kid Ugluck should be a crime. There are worse names. Percival. I would rather be named Ugluck than Percival. Percival is a terrible name. Shum. Chank. Yeah, Chank is a pretty bad name. So what is it about odd names that turns you off?
I don't know.
Do you imagine that the kid will be picked on for it?
Yeah, it's part of it.
But like some kids that had weird names were the cool kids. Like sometimes like a weird name makes you the cool kid.
But I also know weird names like they hurt their future prospects with like jobs and shit.
Do they? Nobody wants to hire somebody named Mithrandir Parkey. Oh man. There's a whole social currency around names. Freakonomics. I have thumbed through Freakonomics, but it was years and years ago, like well over a decade ago, so I don't remember a lot of it, but I think I remember that being.
A video version of it too, and it's like I think like traditionally black names specifically, like they would do like the same fucking stats on two different resumes, one with a traditionally black name, one with like a traditionally white name, and
it was just like overwhelmingly obvious. Huh. Interesting. That's really strange. A lot of people name their kid Daenerys or whatever. Oh yeah, see that's fucking lame, bro. Like Mithrandir is cool because it only comes up like once or twice in the Lord of the Rings, and nobody thinks of Gandalf when they think of Mithrandir. And it can be shortened to Myth, which is a really cool one-syllable nickname. But yeah, like, I don't know. For me, when I was a kid, I think I appreciate having a more normal name now that I'm older, but when I was a kid, I fucking hated my name. I thought it was the least creative fucking shit. I was pissed off at my dad because my mom wanted to name me, what was her boy name for me? It was actually pretty fucking cool. Her girl name for me was fucking hideous. Thank goodness I was born with a penis. Hallelujah. Oh my goodness. I would have been Abigail Lucinda if I was a chick. And for a guy, I think she wanted to name me, I don't know, I'd have to ask her again. I can't fucking remember now. I just remember liking the name that she wanted to name me way better than Paul and being salty about it. A friend's kid's name is Sephiroth. No, dude, no. I don't know, bro. Abigail Lucinda is it's a pretty tough combo. Abigail's not bad, but Lucinda.
Well, it's not like many people would know that Lucinda, anyways.
Well, that's the thing. My mom is big on these 2-word first names, as you know.
I see.
And so the name was not supposed to be Abigail. The name was supposed to be Abigail Lucinda.
I see.
It was not really as much a middle name as a hyphenated first name.
I see. Well, come here.
My brother's name is Chaim. That's a pretty cool name, though. I like Chaim. I like any name that you've got to do a little bit of with, you know. Chaim. Well, see, there is, I won't tell you the name, but one of my sisters has a 2-part first name. Let's just put it that way. 2 names. That constitute her first name. Girlfriend's name is Raven. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God, man. Sounds like somebody that works at Hot Topic, bro. Raven. Man, quoth the Raven nevermore, bro. Fucking Raven Simone, bro. That's so Raven. Oh my God, no. She's gonna break your heart, bro. No dude has ever dated somebody named Raven and had it turn out okay, bro. Get out now. Get out now while the getting is good, man. That woman is gonna break your heart. Raven, dude. Nuh-uh. No. No, 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 no. The search for a big titty goth girlfriend sometimes leads people down the dark road of Raven. You can't go there, dude. She says she's personally attacked. Raven, dude. Whatever, just tell her I've got a shitty name, too. My name sounds like a fucking cartoon character's name, bro. I can talk shit about other people's names. It's not like she chose it. Weed, please. What kind of weed is this? Electric Kool-Aid. Holy fuck. Whose idea was that? Ooh. That's some strong weed. Sativa or indica? Looking at it, I'm gonna guess it's a hybrid. It's got a little purple in it, and it's got a little orange in it, so I'm gonna guess, like most weeds these days, it's a hybrid. That's one of the downsides. It doesn't say on it, though. I don't know. I could ask Zeke the next time he pops by. 420 Weedcast. Do. Whatever. We're just talking about names for an hour and a half, so who cares? I mean, there's a lot of relatively pure sativas out there. Blue Dream derivatives are often at least high in sativa. Tangy is another pure sativa. Durban Poison. But I don't know. I just don't run across those anymore. It seems like the world of weed, in California at least, I won't speak for every other place, is now just like hybrids. Hybrid weeds. I don't know if I'm wrong, though. Just looking at this weed, it doesn't look like it's a sativa. It doesn't look like it's an indica. It looks like an indica sativa. White Widow, yeah. Another pure sativa. Also the source of a lot of people's panic attacks back in the day. I remember when White Widow hit the market. It was one of the first, like, named weeds that I remember, like, signaling, like, quality indoor grown hydroponic type of weed or whatever. The first one of those that I could get my hands on was White Widow. And I remember when people started, like, smoking White Widow, a lot of panic attacks started happening because it was really potent.
It is a kind of shitty smelling weed.
What?
Poopy.
What, this one?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's the weed. I think we just got a blow of, like, fertilizer or some shit.
Oh no.
Yeah, we got a little stinky smell.
Let's see.
Welcome to living out in the fucking country. Yeah, it's gone now, whatever it was. Maybe it is that weed. Some weed just smells like dog shit, dude. Literally, that's how you can tell it's good weed, is if you smoke it and it leaves a distinctly dog shitty smell in the air. You're like, oh man. There's also an actual strain of weed called cat piss because it smells a little bit like cat piss when you smoke it or smell it in the bag. Has a very cat pissy smell to it. The terpenes you're smelling, yeah. The turd peens, dude. So did you ever go through a point in your life where you thought you wanted to have kids?
Yeah.
Yeah? I think everybody kind of does. Too much fucking responsibility, dude. I'm actually, like, pretty impressed by parents in general. Especially parents who are, for better or worse, doing a good job, you know, raising smart, well-adjusted little kids. Fuck, dude. Fucking A, man. It's a crazy amount of responsibility. Wonder if somebody's getting their fucking septic pumped.
Yeah, it is like extra today. That could be it. Could be getting your septic pumped or something.
Or maybe it's time for us to have our septic pumped.
Maybe.
I don't think it's fucking emanating from our septic. That thing is sealed, so.
Yeah, like there would be like green around the edges if it was about ready to blow. There's a little grass around it, but it's not like green grass.
No, it's, I don't think, well, whatever. We're not here for much longer.
Yeah.
But there is a distinct shitty smell in the air today, and no mistaking it. Kind of wafts in on the breeze, though, and which leads me to believe that somebody's getting their tank pumped or something in the neighborhood. That shit will stink bomb a whole fucking neighborhood. It's gross.
You live by a house that did it.
Yeah, out in the country, the house I grew up in had a septic tank, and there were probably like 5 people that lived within a 1 mile radius of us. You always knew when somebody was getting their septic tank done. Just smelled like shitty ass. So that is likely what's going on.
It's the cost you gotta pay to be this much off the grid.
I guess so.
It was weird how they worked. They're like a whole fucking ecosystem in there.
What?
The septic.
Oh, yeah. It is very weird.
Gotta add like little bacteria sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that little box of powder, it's like if it starts backing up, you put that in there and it like
Eats.
accelerates
Yeah.
the life cycle in there.
Yeah, it's fucking gross. But hey, it's an invention that allowed us to not like have our turds laying around on the ground everywhere, so I guess it's good. On a Greyhound right now, it's hell. Thanks for streaming. You're welcome.
Do you ever do that across the country?
I've never really traveled extensively by any other means other than plane and car. I've never really taken a super long train ride. We took an Amtrak to the Bay Area when I was a kid. It was a lot more common for people to do it back then. It was just cheap as fuck. Pretty easy to do. But I haven't really done any busing or train rides or anything like that. Done a lot of driving.
I really haven't either. When I lived in Massachusetts, I take the train to like my classes in Boston and shit.
Yeah.
The train to the city and visit my family over there.
That makes sense. Yeah, I've never lived in a place that had like, I guess except for Bellevue. And I did use public transit in Bellevue, but I don't really count that. Just like taking the bus from Bellevue to Seattle that's not going far. But man, I really did like the way that area's public transit was designed. It was really neat. The way that the buses would pull right into the train terminal. Like the buses would go underground into the train terminal. You could get right off your bus, get on the train that takes you, anywhere up and down Seattle that you want to go. And then you just ride that same train back to the bus depot and take the bus home. Super easy. And really well designed, clean and functional and all that shit. Easy to figure out for somebody that had never been there. Like buying fare was really easy. They set it up to where you could just, pay for it really easily. Explains everything to you.
Only America at large had that kind of shit.
Right.
It's really not that complicated. It's just a matter of investment. They
Yeah.
just invested into it, and it'll be fine.
True.
It's like they were able to figure out all these roads. The roads are way more complicated.
I mean, they've figured them out, but in a lot of places, they're just so fucking, horrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a patchwork. LA is a perfect example of that. It functions, but only just. It's like, what needs to happen with Los Angeles is there needs to be like $1 billion investment into that fucking metropolitan area to redo, redesign, like rethink its fucking transit. And it's never going to happen. And so what has happened is all these little tiny cities, enclaves have popped up in the San Fernando Valley, and there's just different standards for each one, and there's so many fucking people concentrated there that the arteries that go in and out of the main parts of LA are just clogged constantly. It's just a fucking nightmare driving in Los Angeles. I mean, you saw how it was just to get to like, where did we stay? We stayed in La Brea when we went to do the Dank D&D thing. And just getting to fucking La Brea was like, what, 6 interchanges and like fucking like crazy. It took us forever to get off the freeway and find La Brea. And that was following, the directions and shit. It's just fucking nuts the way it's designed. It's just a patchwork of different roads that are expected to all work as one thing, but weren't designed as one thing.
Had a bunch of, is it San Francisco that had a bunch of hills, or was it LA?
San Francisco has a bunch of hills. LA does too, depending on where you are in LA. So LA's in a valley, so it's got all surrounded by mountains.
I know, like in Seattle, they just like fucking sandblasted hills the best they could. You can see like the hills in Seattle are still fucking ginormous.
Yeah. The area where we lived, Bellevue, like getting from downtown Bellevue where I lived to TJ's house, and he didn't live that far from me, probably like 5 or 6 miles from me, but he was up in the hills. And it was like you would go on this main road and then hit this like windy, and then you'd be at TJ's house.
It's like Olympia was supposed to be like the hub, but Seattle's like, no, we'll just sandblast our hills the best we can and make ourselves the hub. It's like it wasn't really built that way.
No. I feel like they did a better job with the Seattle area, though, than most areas I've lived in. It's like this area we're in now, it's like a scam. It's been under construction since I was like 12 years old, and it just never stops, never gets finished. And then you find out that the Chinese built the world's longest bridge, like a multiple 100-mile long bridge in 2 years. And California, in my entire lifetime, can't fix one stretch of 99. It's fucking absurd, bro. It's a scam. 100% scam situation. My whole life, this stretch of 99 that we live near has been under fucking construction. My whole life.
And that fucking infrastructure bill is going to be gutted to the point where it might as well not even exist.
Yep. And everybody with half a brain knew that was going to happen too. There were people that were cheerleading this $3.5 trillion bill, and it's just like, they're going to find an excuse to whittle it down. And that's what it is too, an excuse. They don't want to do away with the fucking filibuster. They could push this motherfucker through if they cared right now. But
like, even now they're like, oh, we'll take the cutting coal off for Senator Manchin from West Virginia.
Oh yeah, dude, they're going to pork it up, and they're going to fucking make it even more useless than it would have been had they passed it completely. Because there needs to be a lot more than $3.5 trillion worth of infrastructure investment in this country to get it out of the fucking 70s, 60s, 50s, and 40s.
We're going to get like $1.2 trillion or some shit, probably. All said and done.
Probably. How could they push it through Congress? They could pass it through reconciliation. They could get rid of the filibuster so that fucking the slim margin didn't matter and a simple majority was all it took. That's how they could get it through Congress.
Fucking shake down the 2 Democrats.
Yep. Shake down the Democrats that are holding it up. Apply some fucking political leverage and pressure. I mean, all you got to do is look at the history of the United States to see how the game is played. Play the fucking game. That's it.
Yeah, they're acting like fucking Manchin is like the czar or whatever that like can't get around.
Just can't get around Manchin. It's just like, man, you could get around fucking Manchin. You apply a little of fucking pressure. You change some of the rules around. You find ways of doing things around his obstructionist ass if you really want to get shit done. But the truth of the matter is that the power structure, despite what they may say, doesn't actually want to get shit done. They want to have a scapegoat as to why they tried to get shit done but only partially got shit done. Period, point blank. That's it.
Especially like Kristen Sinema, she's not like a super duper established politician. It should be way easier to pressure her.
Not only that, but they're not. They're saying mean things about her on Twitter and shit, but when it comes to actual political pressure behind the scenes and shit, none's being applied. She should have Joe Biden, if he was fucking mentally sharp enough to do it, knocking on her door every fucking day. She should have him using the powerful people that are in his circle to apply political pressure to Sinema, using his contacts within the fucking House and Senate to apply fucking pressure to Sinema. None of that shit is being done. None of it.
Yeah, like I understand Manchin might be a little harder because he's like been there a while, but like I think Sinema's only in like her second, third term, isn't she?
I think it's her second term. It's one of those things, dude. It's like the history is littered with this very particular kind of political pressure being applied to get people to go along and get big bills passed and get big sweeping legislation passed. And now people are just used to the excuses so much that they don't even look back and see how this shit got done. How did the fucking voting rights bill get passed? Go look at the history of it. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy the confluence of different fucking opinions that had to be corralled in order to get the voting rights bill passed. Period. It's crazy how many people had to get corralled in order to get civil rights bills passed. It's crazy how many people had to be corralled and how much political jockeying in order to get fucking slavery abolished. These are all things that were accomplished politically, behind the scenes, using political pressure and connections in order to apply, calling in favors, sometimes using outright skullduggery, like hiring agents to fucking harass these fucking people.
Yeah, it's like Biden's got the whole CIA at his fucking fingertips, and the FBI can't fucking
apply some fucking pressure. No, because they don't want it done. That's the fucking sad truth. They don't want it done.
They want to say they're trying to do it.
They want to appear that they're fighting for something like it, but they're ready to settle at any moment for about half or less. That's their game. That's the ratchet effect. Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson did some crazy jockeying between tons of different factions. Conservative blue dog Democrats, Republicans, the burgeoning fucking civil rights movement led by its black leaders. He had to jockey all these different fucking people and use his fucking connections and apply pressure here and burn bridges here to build new ones over here. He had to make these hard political choices in order to get some important civil rights legislation passed. Period.
He lost the South for Democrats.
Yep. You want to know why the South votes Republican now? Lyndon B. Johnson. Period. The South used to be a Democratic haven. Not anymore. The paradigm as it exists now, with the South voting massively fucking Republican, and the northern and western states voting mostly Democratic, that paradigm, Lyndon B. Johnson. Because he burned so many fucking bridges in order to get done what needed to be done.
That's about where the party switch started happening too.
Yep. But there's not a figure that cares enough. And I'm not even saying Lyndon B. Johnson didn't have self-serving interests and shit. He was a rich motherfucker. And he enriched himself with his adjacency to power, of course. He was corrupt, but he got shit done. At a time of great upheaval in this country, he managed to fucking navigate the waters and politically get things done that needed to happen and move us towards something better. He managed to do it. If he can fucking do it, we can find a fucking politician that can do it, but it ain't Joe Biden. That motherfucker can't even string a sentence together. He's falling apart at the seams. It ain't Kamala Harris. She exudes an aura of unlikability that is just unsolvable. It's unsolvable because it would require her to, like, change who and what she is. She would have to not be an incredibly self-involved, extroverted narcissist, and actually be somebody that is capable of empathy. So her likability is in the toilet. Biden's approval rating in the toilet. Why? Because he hasn't done anything. There are tons of people out there trying to make excuses for why Biden's fucking approval rating is down. The truth of the matter is that he has done nothing functionally.
The child tax credit's basically the only, like, major accomplishment.
Yep.
He's had.
No Medicare for all. No weed legalization. No fucking student debt relief. Nada, 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 nada. No meaningful climate legislation. Just continued fucking drilling. Drill more. No meaningful fucking immigration reform. Let's deport more people than Trump did.
Let even less refugees.
Yeah, Trump was a good shield. We called him a racist and a fucking, neo-Nazi for 4 years. So that'll cover us deporting even more people. And this isn't the first time that a Democrat has done that. They called George W. Bush and his immigration policy fucking Nazi level, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And then Obama came along and deported more people than any president in history.
Built those cages.
And people are still dancing to this fucking tune, bro. People are still dancing to this fiddle. How stupid are you? And you want to watch a fucking, like, electoralist, lesser of two evil voter have a fucking head explode moment? Ask them if Joe Biden... Okay, it says I'm back. Or at least it says it looks like I'm back. This. Okay, what about that? I just, like, minimized the application and then
I'm still getting the circle.
Okay, Marshall says it's good now. And we are back. All good now.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the fuck that was. I was like, dude, they shutting me down. Speaking too much truth. I don't even remember what I was fucking talking about now. They succeeded in shutting me down. Oh, I was saying if you want to make like a lesser of two evil Biden supporter fucking have their head explode, ask them if harm was reduced for immigrants. Ask them how Joe Biden reduced harm for immigrants and migrant people.
He let kids cross unaccompanied so that they could
Yeah.
go in cages.
So they could fill up the cages to absurd levels during a pandemic. Yeah. Would you be pissed if you got all your Highdeologies removed? Probably, yeah. But I don't think it would really... I'd just start another channel or whatever the fuck and point people to it. I've got a backup channel for that very fucking reason. So you accept the skullduggery and political jockeying to get policies passed, but reject Bernie for supporting Hillary. Yeah, because that's neither skullduggery nor political jockeying. That was just subsuming himself and his message to somebody he knew wasn't going to fucking represent anything that he represented. That's different.
Talking
You
about
don't,
pressure between
yeah.
elected officials and shit.
You're talking about, yeah, going up the food chain. See, listen to this. Kirsten Sinema is not the boss of the world. She has people above her in the political world that have committee seats and the ability to appoint committee seats. You could get Kirsten Sinema fucking. She's a social climber. She wants to go up. So give her a little fucking avenue for that. That's what I'm talking about when I say political jockeying. Give her a seat on a fucking committee somewhere. Put her on a powerful fucking legislative committee. Give her a fucking seat. Do some political jockeying. Offer her something that'll make her fucking home state go wild. Offer to throw something into this fucking $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill that's so fucking good for Arizona, specifically, that she can't say no. Do something, like there's a billion different ways that you can do this. It's called political pressure. Having people that she respects come to her. Having people that she doesn't respect but has to fucking fear because they hold her political life in their hands come to her. Strong arm tactics. I mean, fuck, do something other than whine about her on fucking social media, bro. Well, money is power. You can't really give her a whole ton of fucking money, but what you can do is give her an avenue to money. You put her on the right fucking legislative committee, you put her on the right fucking, you give her the right appointment, and that gives her connections that are going to give her a lucrative ass fucking K Street career as soon as she leaves. Which, look, that's what I think she wants. So give her what she wants. Put her in a better position to make more millions of dollars lobbying Congress later. And get this shit passed. But no. Nobody's going to do it. Because they don't want it passed. The people at the top wanted to present something that was pie in the sky so that they could, oh, look, we had to whittle it down because these people wouldn't come along. Same old story, same old song and dance. Heard it before, dude. I've heard this one before. We just couldn't get it done, man. We tried. The mean old Kirsten Sinema, mean old Joe Manchin wouldn't come along, man. We did everything we could. Look at all this mean stuff we said on Twitter. Dude, you know what LBJ would have done? Let's be real. LBJ would have called up fucking J. Edgar Hoover and been like, give me all the dirt you've got on Manchin. I want you to investigate every aspect of Manchin's business life, and I want you to find every motherfucking piece of dirt on Joe Manchin that has ever existed. Every dirty deal, every fucking shady contact, and I want a fucking report on my desk next Tuesday with all of that shit on it. And because fucking J. Edgar Hoover was a sociopath, he would have been like, yes, master. Give you every bit of dirt on this motherfucker that exists. Call Joe Manchin into the fucking Oval. Put an uncomfortable chair in front of the Resolute desk. Say, have a seat, Joe. Got a little folder here that I want to have a little discussion about. Seems back in 1985, you were sitting on the board of a certain oil company, and it seems that a lot of money was misappropriated here in this deal, Joe. How did that happen? Where did that $6 million go, Joe? Never was an investigation into that. I know exactly where it went. Here is where it went. This is one of your offshore accounts. That's what would have happened. Investigate these fucks. Find every piece of dirt on Kirsten Sinema on Joe Manchin, and I can guarantee you Joe Manchin's the easier one to do this on.
Yeah.
Nobody gets as rich as Joe Manchin without having a ton of fucking dirt. Find everything, every salacious rumor, every accusation of sexual harassment, everything. Put it in a folder in front of him and say, I don't know about this, Joe. I'm thinking I might have to convene an official investigation into corruption for you, Joe. You know, I think I'm going to have to call up Hoover and ask him to look into this stuff. I mean, it's one thing to be a businessman, Joe, and it's another thing to be an obstructionist. Now, I understand every businessman in this world's got a little dirt, Joe. But that dirt needs to be swept under the rug now, doesn't it? You want that to happen? You come along on this reconciliation package. The people need it, Joe. People need this $3.5 trillion. It's going to help rebuild America. Or I could give Edgar and his boys a call. Let him loose on this. I mean, I don't think you want this coming out. What's this here? This little trip to Mexico picked up by the Mexican authorities, underage prostitute. Joe, this little dust ball right here could blow up in your life. I could just put this here in the shredder. J. Edgar don't need to know about this. But I need that vote. You gonna give me that vote. Now get the fuck out of here. Think about it, and I want your answer by tomorrow. Motherfucker would switch his tune so quickly. After considerable debate, I have decided that the American people will benefit from the full $3.5 trillion package. Knock one off. Nobody wants to do it, though. Telling me that couldn't be done? Give me a fucking break, bro. I think I'm going to have to convene a grand jury about this one here, Joe. This business deal here breaks 17 different international business laws, Joe. I think I'm going to have to get a grand jury look into this. We're going to dig into this one, Joe. Unless you want to come along on this $3.5 trillion. Dirt goes both ways, not when you're the president. What's Joe Manchin going to do? He can't call up J. Edgar Hoover and say, give me every fucking piece of dirt.
Like, just look at Trump.
Right.
Like, Trump had all kinds of dirt. Nothing ever happened.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm going to take that fucking boat of yours, Joe. I'm going to take your yacht, the Almost Heaven. I'm going to seize that yacht as federal corruption investigation fucking material, fucking evidence. We're going to seize your offshore assets, Joe. You understand the hammer that I can bring down on you just over this here? And we haven't even turned to the next page, Joe. You want to go to the next page here in this folder? Or you want to vote for the $3.5 trillion infrastructure package, Joe? There's your choice. Because I think we're going to have to seize your assets, Joe. All your offshore accounts, we're going to have to take that beautiful boat. Going to have to lock it up in some horrible Navy dock. Who knows what shape it'll be in if it ever comes out and back into your possession, Joe. You know how they take care of those things down there at the Navy Yard. As seized evidence. That beautiful boat will be covered in slime by the time it comes out of there, Joe. You don't even want that. Vote for the $3.5 trillion reconciliation package, Joe, and sail away into the sunset on your almost heaven. You don't want that thing locked up in a Navy Yard, Joe. You know how these things go. A little strong arm. Why not?
How else you get strong arm? Like, it's because of the coal fucking companies donating to them in West Virginia. Organize a coal strike.
Yeah. I'm going to have to support this coal strike, Joe. I'm going to have to send my labor office down there, start advocating for these coal miners. I'm going to have to do an OSHA investigation of every West Virginia coal mine, Joe. And I tell you what, we're going to find a lot of safety violations. We're going to find a lot of safety violations. We're going to shut down the production of coal out of West Virginia. And it's going to be your fault, Joe. Every time this comes up, Joe Manchin's name is going to be mentioned. These people are going to hate you, Joe. Strong arm these fucks. Come on. Get with it.
There's so many avenues to do it.
Yep.
You're not a fucking politician. You're just fucking spitballing.
Yep.
People like Joe Biden because he isn't a meaty head.
It's just stupid. It's just like the people that say, well, what are we going to do, and have boogeyman cinema and fucking Manchin. They're just playing right into the fucking game. The boogeyman is the people who are unwilling to put fucking political pressure on Manchin and cinema, and just personal pressure. I guarantee you, Cinema's got a dirty deal or two in her fucking past.
Or, like I said, she hasn't been there that long. She wants to move up.
Right.
She'd be the easiest fucking person.
Yeah. I know what Cinema wants. She wants a fucking $1 million K Street career, and she's pretty much got that, but she could have a fucking multi-million dollar K Street career. She sits on fucking this committee and that committee. She gets the right appointments and shit. She makes more connections. Pretty sad that Manchin and Cinema are basically there because everyone else is weak on challenging them. I mean, yeah. Almost heaven. Flies. I'm shooting flies with my bug assault, dude. It's the only way you can fight back against these fucks. That or a flamethrower. Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Yeah, dude, I hit them all the time. I drop them like it's hot. Country roads. Yeah, we have one of those fly trap bottles up there. Maybe we'll order another one, because it seemed to work while we kept it up.
It just evaporated so quickly.
Well, now that it's a little cooler, it'll probably stay active for longer. We'll hang it over here. I think that'll probably help a lot. Didn't we get 2 of those? Or we only got 1? Oh, we'll look. This is why I can't get with expansion of federal powers in world government. Why is the infrastructure of my region being delayed because some bumbling monkey from West Virginia? It's not because of him. You're falling into the trap. He's doing exactly what fucking hundreds of politicians that came before him did. Being an obstructionist to fucking play act at home. The villain is not Joe Manchin. The villain is everybody else that isn't applying maximal political pressure to Joe Manchin. They're just saying mean things about him on Twitter.
I mean, ultimately, he's digging his heels in, like, to help his donors, but also because he probably wants something.
Dude, the whole apparatus should be up his ass. The whole fucking weight of the federal government should be up Joe Manchin's ass, because that's how you get to a dude like him. I guarantee nobody gets as far as Joe Manchin without having a fucking mound of dirt on him. So you find the dirt, you put it in a fucking thing in front of him, and you say, what are we gonna do about this? Easy peasy.
Do that with the Supreme Court too. Like a bunch of fucking justices have been pressured to retire a little early.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, just have to wait for them to croak. There's some fucking justices that were kind of strong-armed off the court so that they didn't get an appointment.
Yep. That is true. I don't know. Oh, I'm just so sick of the defeatism and shit that comes with lesser of two evilism and fucking electoralism, and I just hate it. It's so defeatist. It's defeatism disguised as progressivism, and it makes me fucking want to puke. Because people just fall into the same old fucking trap of making excuses for the status quo, blaming the same old villains and shit. You think that this whole fucking mansion and cinema thing isn't really making people, like certain people in the power structure, cackle with glee behind the scenes? They love that this fucking infrastructure shit is getting torn apart. It's what they fucking planned. It's just like there's like no allotting for the other people that support these people and make it possible. Nobody fucking cares anymore. And you end up like locked in this cycle of defeatist fucking lesser of two evils voting, where you have to answer uncomfortable questions like, how did you reduce harm for immigrants in this country? How did your vote reduce harm for immigrants in this country? There was, and like, not to call TJ out because he and I have disagreements on this, but there was like a really telling moment with TJ where I was talking about this very thing, and he said, well, I'm not a fucking Haitian immigrant. Oops. So that's how you advocate for the fucking least among us? That's how you advocate for the most fucking abused people in America? Fuck them, I'm not one of them, so who cares? I got mine. But that's the attitude of most people.
It's easy to say that you support.
Yep. These motherfuckers.
Yeah, I think their response was like, okay, we'll take horsies off the border patrol. No more border patrol horsies.
That's so stupid. Our response to the horrifying scene of people being whipped by fucking armed, crazy cowboy pistoleros at the border is to not use horses anymore. Good one.
Yeah, because it was totally the horse's fault, man.
Yep.
Those horses were whipping themselves. Their hooves.
Yeah, that's true. Do not come. Do not come.
Probably killed at least 100 of those now.
What?
Flies overall.
Oh, yeah. I'm probably in the triple digits, I would imagine. Flies have actually gotten worse in this area because of the drought. And so this area didn't used to be abuzz with flies constantly. But now it is, until the temperature extreme gets low enough to where all the flies and their larvae are killed.
They don't have any fucking scummy ponds left to chill around.
Harm reduction does not mean no harm. Yeah, but in this case, it means harm expansion. So I've just given you an example of an entire class of people that you probably politically pay lip service to a lot that were hurt by your vote for Joe Biden.
That are suffering worse.
Suffering more because Joe Biden. So you have expanded harm. So do I take a little bit of the harm reduction from something else and start doing the calculus on that? Or do we just go, fuck them? Harm reduction over here. How's that work? You're the one that invoked this math of harm reduction. So let's do a little bit of it. Let's do a little bit of math. How much harm expansion eclipses how much harm reduction? Well, there would be a net harm reduction overall from Biden to Trump. From whose fucking perspective? A migrant's perspective? An immigrant's perspective?
Child tax credit, as good as it is, it only benefits people with children.
And it's temporary.
Yeah. What about all the poor people without children? Just fuck them?
Fuck them all. Harm reduction. From a general perspective. That's your fucking... You've done all the math then that you've invoked. You've gone, well, this amount of harm reduction erases this amount of harm expansion. So the fact that Joe Biden is more brutal to immigrants is erased by the fact that he did the child tax credit, ergo harm reduction. So you've done all the math on that. You've graphed out all the different micro harms. You dumb fuck. Look at what you've caught yourself up in. Look at your political position. Watch what's happening in the fucking world as Joe Biden signs off on the very deals he claimed he was going to fucking stop. More fracking, more pipeline, more offshore drilling. And your little argument for harm reduction just gets harder and harder, shrinks. Okay, well, he didn't reduce harm climate-wise, but child tax credit. Well, he didn't reduce harm for people of color and single people and people with no children and immigrants and migrants. But, overall, white people got a little better, so, yeah. Where the fuck are you, dude, politically? Look at yourself. Look at your position. Graph it out for me, bro. Look at what you're caught up in. How many of your expectations as a political voice are subverted by having to have this conversation with me? Like you're a child. When did this harm make this harm go away? No, it doesn't. You're the one that invoked this fucking math calculus shit. I'm saying a harm is a harm is a harm. And if you want to claim that you reduced harm by voting for Joe Biden, you've got to account for brutality at the border. You've got to account for brutality against immigrant and migrant families. You've got to account for how mishandled the rollout of fucking COVID restrictions and shit was in this country. That's on you. Sorry, bro. Who else do you want to own it?
Like there's spikes in certain places that were worse than spikes at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yep. This is now the deadliest pandemic in American history. Over 700,000 people have died and counting. It doesn't make harm go away. That's the point. It makes like less harm. But not if you're an immigrant. Not if you're single. Not if you're an average worker. Not if you're living in a place that's affected by mass climate disaster. Not if you're living in a place that's affected by ecological collapse due to fracking or offshore drilling. Not if you live in a place that once had a beautiful shorefront that's now an oil-slicked mess. But yeah. I get you, dude. I get you, bro. What the fuck are you even doing?
These strikes are not happening with the help of the Biden administration.
Fuck no. These strikes are in response to the Biden administration's do nothing for American fucking workers policy. Period. These strikes are a repudiation of the do nothing administration. These are not like, yay, Joe Biden strikes. These are fuck Joe Biden, fuck the federal government, and fuck this company strikes. How about that?
How How many times has he sent a labor secretary to these fucking strikes?
Yeah, you think that shit was born out of harm reduction? You think people got riled up enough to walk out of their fucking jobs because Biden reduced harm for the average person? Are you a fucking nut? Oh my fucking God, bro. Unbelievable arguing with people like this. A fucking kindergartner can understand this shit, but a grown-ass fucking adult is still sitting here making this fucking argument to me. He's actively made shit worse in this country. He's presided over a horrible COVID-19 response and a horrible economic fucking stimulus response. He's actively made shit worse in this fucking country.
Yeah, the last stimulus he passed cut more people off of it.
Yep.
Reduce the amount of people eligible for it.
Yep. Unbelievable, dude. Unreal to me that people are still making this fucking argument.
Like, the only jobs that have really come back are service jobs. Like, if you were fucking, like, an accountant or something and you got laid off, you still don't have your accountant job back.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just, it makes me fucking weary having this conversation with grown-ass fucking adults. To be fair, kindergartners aren't usually indoctrinated into the sunk cost fallacy by way of tribalism yet. Yeah, they're on their way, though. Do you think harm reduction will be a big talking point next election? It'll be a big talking point every fucking election. Every election in your lifetime. You will be forced, when it comes down to it, especially in big fucking elections, national level elections, you will be forced to vote for the quote, end quote, lesser of two evils. And you will also be forced, like this couple of people in here that are arguing with me, to advocate for evil and to ignore the fact that the lesser of two evils is still evil as fuck. And that maybe that you as a political voice ought to advocate for something better than evil. No, these people don't want to hear that shit. They want to reduce everything to a fucking spreadsheet. They want to take human suffering and quantify it. And I've never seen any of these lesser of two evils people do that fucking math. Never seen it graphed out. Well, okay, so here's the increase in suffering plotted for immigrants and migrant people. Here's the increase in suffering plotted for people in places that are impacted by climate disaster. And here's the decrease in suffering enjoyed by this percentage of American households due to the child tax credit, this temporary decrease in suffering, because it goes away. I've never seen it plotted out, because nobody wants to actually do it. They want to treat it like it's just cold calculus, but nobody ever wants to actually, back in the day, back when you were in school, they were like, show your work. So they knew you weren't just going to the calculator. Show your fucking work, harm reductionists. Let me see the graph. This is how we quantify harm mathematically and excuse it. So this much harm increase is erased by this much harm decrease. I want to see it.
And we pulled out of Afghanistan, but now we're just chilling in the South China Sea.
Yeah. I want to see it. I want to see it plotted out on a fucking graph.
Almost fucking sunk a submarine fucking around the South China Sea.
Man, we got to get over this. People have to do it for 2-3 cycles to learn. Yeah, come up on top of the fucking table. Thank you. Yeah. Gotcha. Dropped him. Drop it like it's hot.
There's one right in front of you.
Is there? Oh, yeah.
It's just like a tank they're all attracted to, too. They can smell that there's water in there.
Well, it's like warm, too. They're just
Yeah.
like sitting on it. Fuck it. It'll be cold enough soon that all these fucks will be dead.
Yeah, we're gonna get a good hard freeze probably in the next couple of weeks.
I would imagine so, yeah. Or at least something close to it. It doesn't even have to hard freeze for flies to fucking die off. It's just a matter of time. Oh, pop, pop.
It's supposed to be 39 at night on Monday. That might be good enough.
That's close. That's not exactly a freeze, but it's close. Yeah, it might be good enough to kill most of these fucks. When's it gonna stop being like mildly warm during the day?
So today, unfortunately, the high is 84.
Right. But like what about next week?
It's still like mid-high 70s. Not quite there.
We're not it's like it's not winter yet, dude.
Yeah.
It's not quite winter enough. Oh well.
What am I gonna do?
Oh well.
You ain't gonna hear my
True that.
California in our taillights and fuck it.
Yeah. I want to concede something. I do not think I am informed enough to make these judgments. So yes, you might be right. Biden doesn't actually reduce harm at all. Oh, fucking A. Cha-ching. We've got at least one winner here. I guess it was worth something to have that fucking conversation. Assuming you weren't trolling the whole fucking time. But whatever. Yeah, it was a unicorn, bro. Did you see it? A unicorn has happened. An admission of not knowing something on the internet, right? I voted Biden, but now regret it. Well, there you go. There's a growing number of people that are in that fucking group as well. Skunkies feeling political lately. Know something never discussed in American politics. Overpopulation, in my mind, it ties back to tons of issues. Sure, yeah. The uneven distribution of people is at the heart of a lot of that. I don't think it's necessarily overpopulation. I think it's underutilization of land and overutilization of certain areas.
Like if we had a federal policy like legalizing marijuana, I think a lot more people would be willing to move to like Oklahoma.
Oh fuck yeah, I'd be one of them, dude. If they legalized marijuana in like West Virginia or Oklahoma or some shit, I'd fucking bloop go live in the woods out there.
We need federal policy to make that happen.
Yep.
That's what's keeping a lot of people in like these overpopulated like western states and eastern states is certain policies.
I haven't examined all the minutia of what Biden has done in office, so fair enough. We will need to learn more. Well, I'm just saying, like, maybe think about as you go, not trying to quantify harm as a graphable fucking mathematical subject and looking at overall the like results of this constant swing back and forth that you're engaged in. Like, look what it does to people overall. Stop thinking about it in terms of harm that can be erased by other harm. Start thinking about it as actual harm that's done to these communities cyclically, president to president to president to president, administration to administration, Congress to Congress to Congress, to House to representative to judiciary. That we're just failing these people cyclically, all of them. Start looking at the big picture, man. Stop reducing yourself to a person that just like is, like, it's sad. I feel sad for Joe Biden.
Yeah, he might have used to like 20 years ago. He might be able to be that hard ass president that pressure.
Maybe. I mean, the truth of the matter is that Biden was caught plagiarizing major speeches and shit. Yeah. This myth of Joe Biden is this blue collar like deal maker, maybe like kind of just what exactly that, a myth. honestly, to me, that's the most insidious cog in the system. People have been browbeaten into honestly believing we can't do anything better. Yep. Or that there's no point in fighting for anything better. It's like, let's talk about everything being better, but as we go along functionally, let's pour all our fucking political power into supporting the status quo as we go. Because, whatever the excuse is, material conditions, blah, 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 blah. And that just compiles and compiles and compiles and it basically kicks the can to the younger generation over and over and over again. And that's the cycle that's destroyed us. It's the cycle that has to be fought against. And if you're a material part of that and a lot of your political power, like look at this whole argument you just sat here fucking having with me. You spent like an hour arguing with me about Biden reducing harm and then at the very least admitted that you can't really quantify that and that he might have accelerated harm. And then, that's so rare. It's rare for people like you to change their mind. So think about that 1 hour conversation where you didn't, at the very least, cop to not knowing everything that you thought you knew. And, went left here saying, I'll look into it. Most people just double down, triple down. They offer arguments that are in material support of Joe Biden constantly. In material support of the DNC constantly. It's just fucking... You got your freedoms. Yeah. Oh, well, indeed.
We can watch the birdies out here.
Yeah. Watch the little sparrows peck the ground when they're here. There's none out here today.
There were some earlier, but it might be a little hot for them today.
Yeah, who knows?
Fucking cricket, man. He's ruined both of our beanbags. He used to love that beanbag.
I know, man. It used to be his favorite, and he's soiled it, dude. He soiled the grain bags.
It's cats, though, man.
Cats are just unimpeachable, though. You can't fucking be mad at them for long. They're too adorable.
Especially because cricket's not aggressive yet.
True.
You can scold him, and then like 15 minutes later, he wants to be all over you again.